last episode we left off with a fun little teaser for this episode, which is great, but also, good news, I remembered that thing. I remembered the thing.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, this isn't like a question, but it'll stir up strong opinions. And the thing was this. What are your thoughts on like ASMR mukbangs?
Oh, I despise them.
Okay, yeah, I think they're fucking disgusting. They are absolutely awful, and I don't understand the appeal of watching them. And like, I'm a person who watches like ASMR roleplays, judge me as you see fit, like I really don't care at this point. So like, I don't mind like if someone's like doing a character where there's like, oh, like a certain snack associated with them where they're like, bring it up, take a quick crunch, but it's not like up like against the microphone making like disgusting noises. That's like, that's fine.
What?
Or like if someone's doing something and they like, you know, take a quick sip of like a cup of tea here and there, it's fine by me. Yep. But like anything where like people are up in the microphone just going like disgusting.
I hate that noise. That like
absolutely awful.
I can't even like, I am a person though where like I can't handle if I'm like at college when I was in the dining hall and like if somebody was like chewing too loudly, I would get overstimulated and I'd be like, oh my god, I gotta go. I can't handle it. And so just like,
yeah,
the thought of just the
bad, very, very bad. But yeah, no, that's like, see, that is a thing that stirs up strong emotions, because I don't know who the hell is out there like listening to these like, to people just like going to town on like a fucking lobster.
Ugh, monsters.
Inhuman. But like, yeah, if it's like a little thing here and there like worked into a video, like, oh, someone takes like a sip of a cup of tea, or like someone like crunches something real quick, alright, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the only way that it's acceptable.
I try not to kink shame. I try not to judge. Why?
Yeah, I just simply do not get it. I mean, like, again, like, I'm not gonna personally shame someone, but I think it's so, like, for me, it just, like, it makes me, like, do that little shiver thing. Like, I think it's so gross sounding.
Yes, but it is still one of those things that I'm like, if you can get that back, like, if you can make money off of people listening to you eat, you go for it.
Yes.
Like, good for you.
Yeah, no, get that bag, first of all.
Wow, what an intro to another week of chaos.
I've noticed the chaos level, like, steadily climbing now that we don't have, like, the, like, rational, grounding presence of Maddie to, like, rein me in. I'm just like, alright, weirdest things possible, let's go. So,
and I am going to hype you up every time.
I know, that's the problem. Sorry, Maddie, this is what the podcast has become in your absence. I hope you're okay with having your name as producer credit on this. Yeah. But also, circling back around to our little teaser thing, like, what would you require in your dressing room if you were famous? I feel like first we should establish, what would we be famous for?
I like that you aren't just assuming that it's going to be this podcast, first of all.
My expectations for my own projects are very low. It's a defense mechanism.
But if not this... God, if I could pick anything, I probably would be, honestly, I would be a Twitch thought.
Okay. You know what? I respect it.
But
I would like to dream, maybe, that I would either be famous for, like, acting or stand-up.
Ooh, I feel like you'd be really good at stand-up.
I actually did take a rhetoric of stand-up comedy class where, like, part of it was that we had to perform stand-up, and, like, I'm a very, like, socially anxious, like, OCD person, but I also, like, really did have fun doing it. So, I don't know, maybe someday I'll try, like, a local comedy club. Who knows?
You give me, like, Bo Burnham vibes. Like, that would be the kind of thing that you would do.
My man Bo, oh my god.
Yeah.
Love him so much. That's a very high compliment. Thank you.
And then just like add in a little John Mulaney for spice.
Yeah. Let me add a little bit of spice to that. I'd like to think that's how it would go. So yeah, that's probably what like in my ideal world. If I don't make it because of this masterpiece right here, in my ideal world, I would like to say I would either be famous for acting or for stand-up comedy. Or maybe writing, who knows.
I would love to somehow get Twitch famous through solely cozy games like Animal Crossing, Stardew
Yes,
Valley,
yes, yes,
Harvest
yes, yes,
Moon,
yes.
like
Wholesomeness.
make me famous off of that. And then just like come to my stream, I'm wrapped up in a blanket and I'm just like hee hee hee.
I think you deserve to be famous for that. We need more famous, we need more people famous for wholesome things.
True. True.
As a red hot take for you. So now that we've established that, what do we require in our dressing rooms? What is in our contract, a la whichever band it was, Aerosmith, AC/DC, a bowl of M&Ms, but with all the brown ones taken out to, like, prove that they've read the contract or something.
One of the things that I was thinking about was my deep love for ramen noodles, except I need them to be so, like, when I cook ramen, instead of just, like, throwing the noodles in the pot, I break them up, because, like, otherwise the noodles are just too long, so, like, that would be one of my things, is that I require the pack, like, I want ramen noodles, but they can't be too long.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I'm just, like, writing things down right now because I'm getting random inspiration for other things.
Okay, we vibe with it.
We'll
and then
later.
the other thing that I have been obsessed with lately, and I feel like is kind of random, is the Kinder eggs. Ooh. I want
the American Kinder eggs that you have to like scrape out with a scoop, or like the legit ones.
No, the American ones you have to scrape out with a spoon because I think they're fun, and so I want
ones are good. I will put that out there. I know, like, we don't get normal Kinder eggs, like those are illegal, but for some reason, like AK-47s aren't. But I do enjoy the American Kinder eggs because it's very like hazelnut type chocolate deal going on, and that I just like the taste of it.
But anyway. I want a case. How am I blanking on the word? Like an egg carton. A carton of eggs, except you open the carton and it's Kinder eggs.
It's Kinder. Okay, I like that. That sounds like a fun time, frankly.
It's just easier for transport.
This one, like, I have been agonizing over this because, like, I know in, like, a bunch of, like, really famous people's contracts, they're like, yeah, I have to have, like, a bottle of, like, Dom Perignon in my dressing room. But I am, an average everyday person. I'm a simple woman. So, like, maybe if I was famous, like, I would have, like, I would have elevated tastes because I would, like, be able to, like, I'd be at, like, parties where, like, shit like that is being served and whatever. But, like, right now, I'm just like, well, a kettle would be nice so I could make some tea. Like, I'm such a simple person, truly. So, like,
can I get a bottle of your finest Poland Spring?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, so, like, those are, like, the only things that are coming to mind. Like, just, like, a little electric kettle, so, like, a little mini fridge with, like, I don't know, just give me some tea bags and a little mini fridge with, like, some, like, milk in it so I can make some tea.
That's so cute.
What would, like, a fun I'm trying to think, like, I have been agonizing over this and, like, really been coming up empty. It's kind of embarrassing. But, like, I'm trying to think, like, I would like there to be a sound system so I can listen to some jams while I'm getting ready.
Yeah, okay. I can vibe with that.
That'd be nice.
I feel like you could get a little fancy and request that, like, Russian vodka you got.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, I could
and like
request
stuff
like
to make Moscow mules.
yeah, okay, yeah. There needs to be a bottle of Beluga Noble vodka in my dressing room and some really high quality ginger beer. And you know what?
And the fancy little cups. What are like
The
the
copper
metal?
mugs and
Yeah.
fresh limes. None of that like
Ooh.
pre-packaged lime juice. Get an
Yeah.
actual lime and like the little juicer thingy. Fresh lime juice only.
I want you to be famous enough that like this is something that you can request to have somebody come in specifically just to juice your limes. So like at 3 p.m. specifically, this dude walks in, he's like, "Hey, I'm Ryan." He juices the lime and then he just leaves.
So I don't ruin my manicure or whatever I have going on. Although, frankly, my manicures never last all that long because, one, even though I don't practice guitar nearly as much as I should, I keep my nails stubby because I think that's gonna, like, encourage me to practice, even though it doesn't. And I also have a terrible habit of, like, biting slash ripping my nails. They don't last
I
very long.
have not bitten my nails in like a week and a half, which is a
We're so
big accomplishment
proud!
for me.
Although sometimes putting nail polish on does stop me from ripping them because I'm like, oh, it's pretty.
Yeah.
But
I have
then it
my
starts
little,
chipping and I'm like, ah.
yeah, my little slightly chipped manicure.
Oh, gorgeous. I do have a lovely pedicure right now, but I know better than to show my feet on the internet.
You're gonna be on that website.
What website?
Oh my god, you've never heard of Wiki-Feet?
Wiki what?
Called Wiki-Feet. And basically, it's just you go on this website and you can search any celebrity and any like feet pictures that somebody has found and submitted appear.
I hate the internet.
I need to add a disclaimer because I only know about this because I was watching an episode of Game Theory Live, and Matt, Pat, and Stephanie were on there vibing, and they have a rule because like that's their live stream, and they have a rule of no feet on the stream, so they don't end up on Wiki-Feet again.
Again.
Yep.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. It's terrible. And that's why, literally, one time, like, in an old episode with Maddie, I was, like, showing off the fact that I was wearing pajama bottoms, and I was like, wait. And then, like, I literally, like, censored, like, put, like, a blur over my feet. I was like, I am not making this mistake.
Not for free, anyway.
Yeah, not for free. One of my friends did that in college. They started, like, and a couple of their other friends started, like, selling feet pics to make money.
Honestly, like, it's one of those things, like the ASMR mukbang. If you can make money off of somebody's thing, you secure that bag.
Yeah, get that
Honestly,
simp money.
Get it, yeah.
Us winding up on Wiki-Feet aside. Is there anything else you'd like to have in your dressing room?
Honestly, like, probably just some, like, I guess I could bring my own laptop, but, like, access to YouTube because I have been really into, like, if I'm doing my makeup or getting ready to go somewhere, just throwing up, whatever. A YouTuber I've been really into lately, oh my god, I forgot his name. I feel like the worst fan. But he is a scam baiter. And so he gets those people who, like, do scam calls, and he gets going for hours. So they're on the phone with him for hours, so they're not, like, scamming actual people. But so basically, like, he just gets them to talk to him, and he has, like, these modifiers for his voice, so he sounds like this, like, 25-year-old girl who's, like, so worried about her bank account and blah, 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 and oh my god, it's so funny to watch.
That is genius.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I saw, like, someone was talking about this guy's stand-up bit where it was like, you call car insurance companies and see how long you can keep them on the phone before they realize that you're trying to insure the Batmobile.
Okay, I love that.
Which is like hilarious. Yeah, I am a big
except
like background
I'm a
noise
SpongeBob
person.
simp. Yeah, oh, I love background noise. I would do that, except I would be trying to insure the invisible boatmobile.
I'm literally wearing one of the t-shirts I got at the SpongeBob musical.
I love that.
That show is so good.
Have you watched any of like the spin-off whatever? Because I
Fuck
refuse
that.
to. Yeah,
Fuck
I refuse
that.
to.
It
It's
is
a sad money grab.
the canon of SpongeBob is the first 4 seasons, the first movie, and the musical. That's it. That's
I don't
it.
know where like the end of the 4th season. Like I don't know my SpongeBob lore.
I
Fake fan.
simply know that like everything prior to like up to and including the first movie, prime and fantastic. But that's when Steven Hillenburg left and they kind of like, you know, handed it off to like other people on the production team and it started sucking. And the reason I include the musical in canon is because it is very true to the Steven Hillenburg SpongeBob, and also he approved it prior to his passing.
Okay, yeah, we stand.
So, you know,
Yeah.
putting that out there. Yeah,
but so yeah, background noise just in general.
yeah, I always need to have some form of like music or like music
Yes.
podcasts, like someone's like old stream or like video essay or whatever. I need to be hearing things constantly to prevent any chance of a thought occurring.
No thoughts.
No
just
think.
YouTube.
No think, just noise. Not a great way to live
I
your
think
life.
I think it's funny too, because like I am that kind of person where like I will have my TV's on like Netflix. I have my laptop up with somebody's stream on, and I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I'm just like, prime.
See, I can't hear two like competing sounds at once. That makes me want to put my fist through a window.
Really?
So I'll be like a game that I don't have to have sound on, like Stardew Valley or like Animal Crossing or something. So I'll like have that on while I'm either like listening to whatever show is playing on my TV or listening to a podcast or music or something. And then, you know, I'll take a break from that and like scroll Twitter while like the video game is still pulled up and I'm still listening to whatever I was listening to. So like that's my kind of go-to method of like making sure that I'm processing too many things at once to like be aware of my own existence.
I cannot believe that you would play a game like Stardew Valley and not listen to the soundtrack, though.
See, here's the thing, I love the Stardew Valley soundtrack, but I've also played that game so much. Like, I know
Fair.
I know her. I know her by heart.
That's another one, too, if I'm, like, doing homework or something where I'm, like, reading or I need to focus, I still need a noise, and so I'm like, oh, Stardew Valley music, pull it up.
Yeah, it's gotta be some, like, it can't have, like, if I'm reading, cannot have lyrics.
No lyrics.
None whatsoever. So, one of my go-tos is the Twin Peaks soundtrack.
Ooh, okay.
That orchestration really do be funky fresh. And, like, the Studio Ghibli music. Ugh.
Yeah, I have been vibing recently. There is a 10-hour YouTube video that is the entire original Animal Crossing soundtrack. And, like, by entire original Animal Crossing soundtrack, anytime, like, you know, like, if you talk to an animal and, like, they make the shocked face and there's a little, like, noise, like, that's included. Like, it's just every single noise that appears in this game, and it's
so much.
Perfect.
The peak Animal Crossing, like, soundtrack for me is the like the city music from Animal Crossing City Folk. Like when you take the bus and go to the city. Love her.
Absolutely. We stand.
Fantastic.
Animal Crossing music in general, I just you can't listen to it and be sad, I think.
You simply cannot. There are definitely some I like more than others. like significantly more, but
Uh,
none of it is bad. You cannot listen to it and be unhappy. That simply isn't how it works.
Next week we must discuss our favorite KK songs.
Oh yes, writing that down.
I was about to say, unless you know right off the bat, because like I do, but
I mean, here's the thing.
Animal Crossing has been my thing since I was 4 years old, though. So like,
I have played a shit ton of Animal Crossing in my day. We still have a Nintendo Wii in my household with Animal Crossing City Folk. Love her so much. There's something I'm never getting rid of. I will never be selling my Nintendo Wii ever.
we still have our GameCube, and it is depressing because like it's finally starting to break a little bit, and the like internal clock doesn't work anymore. So like anytime you turn it off, time just stops existing until you turn it back on again.
You can get
Which
that
sucks for
repaired.
games like Animal Crossing, where like you have to
You have to wait for
like
things.
it moves in real time. Yeah.
You can get that repaired.
Okay, I don't know anything about technology. Like that is
People
one
have whole-
thing that I just
People literally have whole businesses of repairing like vintage game consoles. You can absolutely get that fixed. I say
I'm about
I
to,
say as a
because-
person who also doesn't really understand technology, but like I do know that like that's definitely a thing that people do, refurbishing old consoles.
the only thing I know about technology is this stopped working.
Yeah. This did something and now it doesn't, and I would like it to do that thing again, please.
Yep.
Story of my life.
Still to go off on this tangent, but I have somehow like even though I know nothing about technology, I know more than my parents because they are on the like boomer Gen X cusp, you know, so like they don't know anything.
Yeah.
And so anytime like our internet goes out or something doesn't work, I'm the one who has to call and get it fixed. And they're like, well, how's the router? Like, is this light on the router? And I'm like, sir, I need you to explain what a router is, please.
Yeah, no,
and he's like, well, have you tried blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, I didn't understand a single word of that, so I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, I like reset the router at my house. My parents are like, wow. I'm like, okay. This is what it takes to be a qualified family, like, tech expert.
Yeah. Had to help my father last night because he wanted to print a document that he got in an email, and anytime he would print, he would just print the entire like web page, and he just wanted the document.
Okay. I joke about not understanding technology myself, but sometimes I swear to God, like boomer, like it really is so self-explanatory to do this simple thing on a computer, and they're still just like, can't do it.
Nope.
And like, not to be an asshole to like people who aren't like digital natives and can like, you know, do things like understand cars. That's simply never going to happen with me. But like sometimes I'm like, it literally could not be any easier.
Yep. I always have to help him scan documents to like put on, like if he fills something out with a pen, he's like, now how do I email this? I'm like, oh my God.
And like the worst thing is like when my mom like wants me to help with something on like her iPad, first of all, which again, so self-explanatory, everything on like an iPad. She's like, don't show me how to do it, just tell me. And then I'll be like, okay, like click this thing. She'll be like, this thing, this thing, this
The
thing,
what?
this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
now open your settings. Which one is that?
oh my God. Or like when they're like asking you to help something and they like you know like what they need to, like, you know exactly what they need to do, but they like want to figure it out themselves like while you're standing there, and they'll be like, now maybe let me try this thing, let me try, and like you know exactly what to do, but you know if you tell them, they're gonna like, it's gonna be a whole thing.
My dad had a flip phone up until like 2018 or 2019, which like honestly good for him. But there's a picture that my mom took the first time that he got a smartphone. He got an iPhone, and we're at AT&T, and you can just see me, like, as this guy's trying to explain stuff to my dad, and the look on my face is just absolutely like, are you kidding? With the stuff that he
That's
did not know how to do.
fantastic. Yeah, my dad, oh god, I remember when I was a kid, he had like one of those like real chunky Blackberries because he had an office job.
My,
What
like,
happened to those, by the way? Like,
I
I feel
don't
like they
know.
just kind of phased out of existence, and like
Yeah.
they were specifically like a work phone.
Yeah. I love the concept of a work phone, personally.
Yeah, if anyone knows what happens to Blackberries, because I'm not gonna Google it right now, tell
Just
me in
let
the
me
comments.
know.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know what happened to those boys.
I like remember we have a videotape, a home video of when my mom got a car phone, and it was like such a big
Oh, my
deal
dad
to have
had a
a
car
phone in the
phone. Another
car.
perk of a corporate job in like the 80s/90s.
And then when she got her first cell phone, like she straight up like only used it when she was going to be gone for multiple days. Like if she was going somewhere for business and she was going to be gone for days at a time, she would bring her cell phone. Otherwise, it just stayed in her desk drawer,
Yeah, but like
like
that's
the
how it
vast majority of the
was.
time,
Which
until
is
I stole
whack
it to
to
play
me.
falling numbers. But
Yeah, I remember playing Snake and like Pong on my dad's Blackberry.
the best, the best. And now I cannot imagine. I lose my cell phone for 5 minutes, and I'm like, "Where's my phone? What? My phone? My phone."
But like the thing is, I feel like you have so much more on like a cell phone now
Yes.
because it used to be just like I have some saved phone numbers. I maybe if I'm lucky I have a camera. I have 2 pixel games and I use
Yeah.
it to call people and maybe if I'm lucky send an email. But now it's like I have my bank information. I have all my contacts, all my photos, like literally everything is on my phone versus when it was like this is a device I use to call other people when I happen to not be in my house.
Right. Wild. Technology is something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watching the
And then-
progression of technology as a kid was nuts because I remember like when like the like I remember it being a huge deal when like my elementary school like the library got a single smartboard. And it was like, oh my god, like revolutionary. But then like by the time I was in high school, I'm like, there's a smartboard in literally every classroom.
Yeah.
Like
Um, I remember our first like big chunky video camera, and whenever we would want to like make movies as kids, we would have to have my mom film because she was the only one who could like hold it because it was so
oh yeah,
big.
I did a fair
And
amount
now everything just on small box.
of playing with a not quite that big, but like a DVC tape, like video tape recorder.
Yes.
That's still floating around somewhere in this house, and I don't think it actually works anymore, but it is here.
It's just wild. And like, what is gonna happen next? Where's the future
Yeah,
of
where's this
technology going?
going? Because it's
Because
nuts.
like, I think about people in the 80s, and like, if you went up to somebody in the 80s and explained the concept of a smartphone to them, they would be like, "What on earth are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And I feel like in 20 years, like, we're not gonna be able to imagine life without X thing.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what that's gonna be.
I know, and it really is nuts to think about. And it like and I hate that it's all controlled by like, you know, the same 3 like rich white guys like fucking like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
Mood.
Fuck all of them. But like wondering what the next thing is going to be is so cool.
Yeah.
Cuz like half of
It's
this
so
stuff was
interesting
already
to think about.
inconceivable even like 10 years ago. But like look what we got now.
Oh, I do have a question for you to get
Mhm.
into fighting.
Yes.
As we're talking about boomer parents who have no idea how to use technology,
Yes.
do you think that we, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, there'll be something that we have no idea how to do and explaining it? Like, are we going to become them? Or
I
are
don't
we
think
going to
so.
be able to, like, stay hip with it?
I don't think so because like my dad was born in 1951. He And like his older brother, like his like prime form of entertainment was like radio plays. Like that's what he was into. And they had like one of those big chunky like huge like box radios like in their family room. Like the idea of something having more than like two buttons was like not a thing. Like my dad, there wasn't even such thing as a TV remote when my dad was a kid. And like and everything was analog. Like there was no such thing as like what we like today conceive of as like digital. So I think the fact that people our age are considered like what's called digital natives, like we have never grown up, like we have never known anything like pre-internet, even if it was still like, you know, late 90s like chat board internet. Like it's always been there. And I think just like because of the way that people of our like our generation and like, you know, a couple years like before and after have like grown up as technology has progressed at such a rapid rate, like I think we just have a sort of innate adaptability to new technology that just doesn't happen when you have grown up with like things progressing at a much slower rate and being like again like having not grown up with anything digital at a time where your brain is like so like flexible and spongy and can just pick up all this new stuff really quickly. So really,
Well, and that's like
don't think it's gonna
thing
happen.
I wanted to touch on. Like if you know, like it's something that they talk about with learning a language. Like it's so much easier for young kids to learn language, and then as you get older, it gets harder. And so, like for us, like growing up, where it was all like new technology to learn, and our brains just kind of went and slurped it all up.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be 50 and there's gonna be a new thing, and it's gonna be like learning a language where we're gonna be like,
I mean, I would think to a degree, but I don't think the degree of like technological ineptitude like is going to be anywhere near the same just because we've been immersed in it literally our entire lives versus like someone who like, you know, there's people alive who are like, yeah, we had a radio and like that was it. Like that was
like,
technology.
I do think like it's kind of neat though seeing like older people who are getting into it. Like quick shout out, my 7th grade social studies teacher, Mr. Kresge, was always like super hip with the technology to the point where like he now, I have no idea how old this man is. He's not like old, but like middle-aged. He is now the our district's like technology person who goes in and like shows teachers how to use new technology.
So, and I think that also
this,
goes
like,
to show that like
50-year-old man, like it's so cool.
if you want to stay hip with it, you will.
Hippest man I've ever known, honestly.
I dig that.
I love to like, and I'm hoping that that's gonna be me,
Mm-hmm.
but I can totally see me being 40 in my classroom and being like, what, I don't know how to do this, and like, you know, the teacher's like trying to switch to the different HDMI, like
Yeah.
that's gonna be my future with whatever's new.
I feel like I am probably not going to be given a choice if I want to continue doing like any form of like online content creation or like continuing to like use a camera essentially. Like I'm gonna like I don't have a choice essentially if I want to keep doing it. But also, quick like other thing that I sort of remembered, I learned that one of the like oldest people on record, like they were born in like 1875 and lived until like lived to some ridiculous age and died in like the mid to late 1900s. Like just imagine what you must have seen like watching the Industrial Revolution like happen.
Yeah.
What? Like that's nuts.
I like wild to me.
That is
and
so
I can't
insane.
tell like I wish I always say that, like, I feel like I'm like, oh, I wish that there was something cool happening for me to witness. And then I, like, see the things that are happening now, and I'm like, oh, I take it back.
Yeah, I take it
Never
back. It's
mind.
not actually cool. I also love like people point out like the 1900s, like the amount of change that happened in that century alone. Like it started with like oil lamps and ended with Seinfeld on TV.
Yes, like,
What?
what on earth?
Like
And I don't know that there will ever
that's
be, like,
insane.
something that fast ever again. Like, and I feel like we're talking about technology changing so rapidly now, but, like, I feel like it's not gonna be like that. I don't know.
I do get what you're saying. It's like it is hard to articulate, but I understand what you're saying. But yeah, like that's nuts. Like we started with like steam engines and
And
ended with
then there was the internet.
yeah, and then ended
You
with
know,
the
like,
internet. What?
What?
Yeah, as much as I you know, I make my little complaints about like the world being horrible and stuff, like how cool is that?
So many things that are cool, and I just wish that we could have a bigger focus on that
Can we
because we
do
didn't have to
only
worry about
that,
all the other
please?
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do just that for the next couple centuries or whatever? Just see how it goes.
Honestly, I could use a good, even just like 20 years
Mm-hmm.
where we didn't have to focus on the way more important, like, because granted, we have to focus on that because that is way more important.
Yeah.
Inequality, whatever, way more important than, ooh, cool technology. So, like, we have to focus on it. Like, can't we just get it together so
Yeah,
then
can we
we
get
can
it
focus
together
on the
and
technology?
have a nice 20, like just a nice 20 years even.
Yeah,
Please. I'll take 10, frankly.
that's fair. Yeah,
I'll take
that'd be
what I
fine with
can
me.
get. Oh boy.
That
Well,
was a tangent.
Yeah, that was a tangent. You want to talk about whether or not birds are real?
Oh my god, yes. Okay, I love this. Is just I love this as a theory.
All of the birds died in 1987 due to Reagan killing them and replacing them with spies. The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
And just like,
Yeah, birds aren't real.
honestly, first of all, I want to know, like, the first person to come up with this theory. How?
Okay, because
How?
I remember seeing a tweet like during some like government shutdown or whatever. Somebody was like, "Has anyone seen a bird since the government shut down?" And like, I'm not a person who pays attention, so I'm like, maybe I have, but I was like, wait a
I
minute.
don't know. I'm like looking out my windows, like,
Yeah.
birds.
Birds. I mean, I can hear them. I got my windows open. It's a lovely summer day.
It is beautiful. But like, it's one of those things like we were talking about last week, the segment of like, is this thing real? And like, I had like, is the first, but like, did somebody really think this? Or was somebody like, oh my god, this would be so funny?
Yeah,
And then
or,
people
like,
just ran with it.
Someone was like, this is a great meme.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely love, like, the whole birds aren't real as a meme. Like, any
Yes.
kind of, like, t-shirt that's, like, you know, the t-shirts that are, like, bird watching goes both ways.
Yeah.
Love those so much. It's such a fantastic meme. And, like, I find it hard to believe that it was started as a genuine conspiracy theory. Like, in that sense, I don't think it's real. I just think it's, like, a meme or, like, one of those conspiracy theories that everyone, like, knows they're fake, but they, like, choose to believe it a little bit for fun.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how I think of it.
What a wild thought.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
mean,
it was
like,
so
to be
funny,
fair,
like, seeing that tweet. It was like, has anyone seen a bird since the government shut down? I was like, well, shit, fam.
how good of a concept of like, oh my god, they'll be hidden in plain sight and nobody will even think about it, and then that way we'll just be able to watch everyone. But I just imagine that the price of upkeep, like, no wonder America is in such debt.
Yeah. We're in debt to whoever is providing us with the birds.
Yeah. And who, like, so birds aren't real, they're government drones to spy on us. Who's making them? are we getting them from another country? Are they built in-house? Like,
Here's the thing. I feel like if they are, they would have to be provided to us by, like, they can't be coming from Earth. Because people have done the math. People have done the math about, like, if this thing actually, like, had been, like, a conspiracy, like, because there have been, like, real conspiracies. How long would it take for this information to come out, like, based on, like, the amount of people that would be required to keep quiet, like, the amount of different parties that would have to be involved. Like, just based on, like, that kind of framework that we have for, like, if this was a conspiracy, how long would it take to come out? It simply could not be coming from Earth, because how many people would have to keep their mouths shut? So many.
that's fair.
So if the birds aren't real, then they simply have to be coming from a source outside of humans on Earth.
Honestly, I love that the best place to take this theory is that the birds are government drones because the government is buddy-buddy with aliens.
Exactly.
Like,
And that's what's happening at Area 51.
I'm here for it.
Also, hot take, Area 51, they gave us that information to distract from, like, Area 52 or whatever, where they're actually keeping all the cool stuff.
If they're keeping cool stuff somewhere, it's gotta be Area 69, let's be real.
Nice. You are so right. You are so very right.
But it's something to me that, like, the concept of birds, like, not being real, like, conspiracy theories that are that out there, because those are going to be the ones that end up being true, I feel like. Like, the moon landing being fake, too common. Can't be true. Moon landing's gotta be real. Birds aren't real?
I have said this before, and I will say it again. I choose to believe that the United States government was planning on hiring Stanley Kubrick to fake the moon landing, but Stanley Kubrick, being the way he is, insisted that they shoot on location, so they just went ahead with the space program. Because nobody can prove that it didn't happen, and,
right,
like, where's the harm in choosing to believe that this funny little exchange happened, even though I know that, like, it didn't actually, you know?
Okay, but, like, what if they had been planning, so, like, space race, trying to get to the moon before Russia, and, like, somebody was like, oh my god, like, this isn't going as well as we planned, like, maybe we should plan a fake one so that Russia thinks we did it, and then, like, they were in the middle of planning it, and, like, they, like, shot whatever, but then, like, we did actually go to the moon, and then they just played the wrong video.
Or there was, like, a fake moon landing video just, like, shelved somewhere in some government archive, like, oh, okay, never mind, figured it out, don't need this.
Yeah. But then, like, Greg, who was in charge of, like, handing the video off to be played for the news outlets, gave the wrong video, and now Greg's fired. And now everybody thinks the moon landing is fake, but in reality, it was just Greg messing up.
I want to think instead that there's just, like, a really shitty, like, you know, with the special effects of that era, like, fake moon landing, like, on a VHS tape, just, or, like, on reel-to-reels, just sitting in some government archive, like, like, half-finished, like, okay, we actually did that, don't need the fake one.
You don't need that one, but, like, I just imagine, like, they got, like, random stand-ins to be astronauts who have, like, no astronaut experience.
You know, like, some, like, fake stars held up by, like, fishing line.
And you can see, like, they've got ropes attached to them, so when they walk, they, like, bounce.
Yep. And, like, you know, maybe there's a fan going in the studio, so there's, like, a breeze, but, like, you know, that doesn't happen in space.
Yes.
Quick question.
Anyway, Joe Biden, if this exists, please release it.
Yeah, please release it. Do something useful. Quick question. Why do we say that the United States won the space race? Because technically, Russia did more things first. We just did the biggest one first.
I think that part of it is that we did the moon first, which, like, is a big deal.
I mean, yeah, like definitely a big
Cool.
deal, but like they did Laika, they did Sputnik, they did Yuri Gagarin.
Yeah. I also think that it
And
was
also,
so
history
important.
is written by the winners. Always keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Well, that's what, not even the winners. Like, I think that it was so important that we saw Russia bad and Cold War and blah, 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 that we wanted to be like, see, look, we're better than them. So let's write this textbook that says we won space race. Hee hee.
Even though, like, again, we just did the biggest thing first.
Yeah. But I think it was like especially important with like the climate of America at the time
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh, we need to have the win over Russia. We need to be better than them. Blah 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 blah. And we'll just
Also,
keep yelling that.
here's the thing. I I find Cold War propaganda posters from both the United States and the USSR. I find them very interesting, and there's a PhD thesis in here somewhere that someone is free to have. I think it is so interesting that they both essentially say the same thing, where just the other guy sucks. Like, both of them, it's
Yeah,
like, you know, encouraging people to, like, kind of look to space as the future. And talking about a lot of the same values, like, oh, our country under our system, this is the one where everyone is, treated the most fairly and has the most opportunity. The other guy sucks. Like, they really did value a lot of the same things. So, like, again, there's a PhD thesis in there somewhere. Like, have at it. I just think it's so interesting where it's essentially like they just like swap out the name of the bad guy and swap out capitalism or communism in a lot of cases.
I so like I just wish that we could have like true history, because
Yeah.
like I don't know, you think about it and like every account we have is biased in some way,
Yeah. I
and it's like
follow
that, like
this account on Twitter called like Soviet Visuals, and it's just pictures of like just normal everyday life in the USSR, and like the way that people will bend over backwards to be like, no, the USSR was literally nothing but like gulags and famine. I'm like, there were people where that's just like it just happened to be where they lived, right? Like some
yeah,
people just like that's just where they happened to be born, and they lived there, and they had jobs and friends and families and went to parties and did literally everything that just normal everyday people do, but they were in the USSR instead of somewhere else. Like, there was this picture of like a girl in like a kind of like 60s mod bikini, like on a beach, like taking a picture, and people are like, that was allowed? I'm like, boy, what? It was just another country. Like, it was not North
welcome to
Korea.
USSR, no fun allowed.
Yeah, it wasn't North Korea.
Oh my god.
That's also another thing I think about all the time, though. The fact that there are people who essentially, like, a very, very small minority of people, but, like, North Korea is just where they live. They take the train to work. They have friends. They do things. And, like, that's all they know. Like, I think about that minimum 3 times a week. So, yeah. There's some of my red hot
It's just
takes
like
for
so
you.
wild, because like, do they even know anything, like
Yeah.
about the rest of the world, about what's happening?
Like, pretty much nothing, but also, like, there was, like, one of extremely, extremely few, like, exchange students that have ever been to North Korea. Like, it was this guy from Australia, and he, like, lived there for a while. And he was like, yeah, like, besides, like, not knowing a lot about, like, the governments of the outside world, like, being, like, very repressed in that sense, like, he's like, yeah, like, people are happy to talk about, like, their favorite sports teams and all that stuff, and, like, they would get, like, things like the world, like, they would be censored, obviously, and played on, like, state TV, but, like, you know, one of the guys I knew was excited about the World Cup. And I'm like,
That's so, like,
yeah,
wild.
it's insane. Like, it's so, like, North Korea is one of the most fascinating things to me. Like, I could just, like, read about, like, you know, like, any form of, like, news or journalistic coverage is so interesting. Because, like, it can't possibly be sustainable, you know?
I don't think so. And I wonder, like,
Maybe not in my
how much
lifetime.
longer?
Yeah, like, maybe not in my lifetime,
Yeah.
but, like, how much longer, you know?
Yeah.
I simply don't know.
And then it also makes me think about, like, is there anything I'm missing where, like, I happen to be born here, live my life, and, like,
Yeah.
meanwhile, like, other countries are like, United States, what's happening over there?
Mm-hmm. My cousin knows somebody who lives in Sarajevo, which is, like, there are, like, literal, like, unexploded landmines in parts of that city. And her friend asked my cousin, she was like, oh, like, you live in the United States, like, aren't you afraid of, like, getting shot all the time?
I mean, like, yes. But
yeah, learning about the ways that, like, people outside of the United States, like, see us, absolutely fascinating. Like, it's illuminating, frankly.
Wild.
Yeah. It's again, things are horrible sometimes, but also the world is such an interesting place. So many things to learn about. There's a red hot take for everyone. What was that? You froze for a second.
I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I just said,
And also, I frequently think about the fact that there is probably some, like, farmer way out in North Korea who has no idea who Kim Jong Un is.
He's just vibing.
Yeah, the man is simply vibing. Is never heard of anyone, of any of, like, the dictators in North Korea.
Honestly, I want that life.
And there's probably someone way out in the middle of Siberia who has no idea who Vladimir Putin is.
Yeah.
Things that keep me up at night. What are some things that keep you up at night now that we're on this path? It doesn't feel right to head into what I have listed next.
I often lie awake thinking about, like, how everything, like, in my life worked out, like how I met the people I met, how, like, everything, like, how did I get right here? And I, like, can't stop being like, oh my god, like, if I had enrolled for this class instead of this section of it, like, would my life be completely different right now?
Yeah, I frequently find myself, like, kind of hyper aware of my own existence, just being like, man, like, I'm really up in this bitch. Like,
yeah, like, I do be here.
Yeah, I do be here. So that's a fun one that, like, kind of, like, keeps me up at night. I'm just like, wow, I'm a person that exists. That's nuts.
Yep.
Getting deep over here.
Yeah.
Or at least attempting to.
I mean, I don't want to ruin it.
Oh, no.
But, like,
break the illusion.
The other thing that I think about a lot is, like, how do blueberries taste so different?
Okay.
Like, have you ever had a bunch of blueberries and you eat one and it's so juicy and sweet, and then the next one is sour?
An inconsistent fucking fruit. Because here's the thing, like, you know,
oh, how does it happen?
You're getting like, every time you eat fruit, there's, like, little variations, but, like, the variation within blueberries is so different from, like, raspberries or strawberries or, like, anything else that's coming to mind. Because, like, raspberries, like, yeah, sometimes, like, this one's a little sweeter, this one's more on the sour side. Like, same thing with strawberries. amount of variation that one finds within a single carton of blueberries. Explain.
And, like, one's on the same, like, they're all attached to the same little, like, vine thing sometimes. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Like,
someone,
the
like...
same thing isn't happening with grapes. And, like, they
No.
are attached on, like, there's, again, a little bit of variation. Like, maybe, like, you know, variations in, like, surface tension. One's a little sweet, one's a little sour. Like, what is going on, blueberries? Please explain.
It truly keeps me up at night thinking about it.
Why?
And it's just something, like, I love, personally, I am, like, the plumper and the juicier and, like, mellow sweet the taste is, the better the blueberry for me.
Mm-hmm.
But, and, like, I love that taste, but I can't say the blueberries are my favorite fruit because of that. Because, like, that specific blueberry might be my favorite fruit, but you just never know.
You simply never know. I gotta say my favorite fruit is probably kiwi.
Ooh, that's good.
I love a good kiwi because I think the taste of a kiwi is very similar to the taste of a strawberry. You simply just get more of it at once.
Yeah. I am really into blackberries, personally. I don't just, like...
I also
I
think
vibe.
that kiwi juice should be added to the standard, like, just lineup of fruit juices. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you for
it's
coming on
good.
TED Talk. Oh, I had another thing about fruit that just left my brain. Oh, the most important quality in a grape, for me, surface tension.
I agree. If I'm not, like, it's got to be a little hard to squeeze.
Yeah,
because
like,
it's so...
If I am not, like, I need to be able to use, like, my canines to, like, puncture that bitch. If
Absolutely.
that's not what's happening on, like, what's going on, that is a bad grape.
And I have found that, like, you're likely to get better ones with green grapes for me. Like, purple grapes, it's way harder to get the nice, plump, stretched boys.
I have to, like, I'm, like, physically stopping myself right now from, like, referring to it as, like, a tight grape. But, like, that's what it is! That's why I have to say, like, surface tension. Because otherwise, that's the word I'm using, and I hate it. But yeah, no. Like, the most important quality in a grape is surface tension. Because, again, if I'm not, like, using, like, my sharp teeth to, like, pop it like a balloon,
yeah,
it is simply not good.
I need the juice to, like, just right into my mouth. All, like... Yep. It's very hard to have this conversation without it being somehow sexual.
Extremely sexual. But
I want the juice to just explode in mouth. I'm just gonna say it.
Well, yeah, no, like, a grape needs to be like a water balloon, essentially.
Yeah, okay, that's a good analogy. I'm here for that.
That is a good analogy.
Yep. Once you pop it, it just...
Mm-hmm. That is how a grape needs to be.
Oh my god.
What an episode this has been.
What was this episode? What happened?
I technically had playing some Smash or Pass listed as the final thing we should do, but I don't think that's right now. I don't think we can do that after, like, discussing, like, North Korea and the ideological similarities between the United States and the Soviet Union.
Oh my god.
I don't think we can do that now.
No.
We can save that for next time.
Wow, this was pure chaos.
What happened? Again, Maddie, this is what happens when you're not here.
Would love to be able to be like, oh, sorry, I was drunk. Or, oh, you know, I just started a new medication.
This is simply how I am.
But this is just me, baby.
This is me without the, like, the restraining influence that is Maddie Collins.
Saw this thing that it was like, for me, adulthood is just the exact same personality I had in middle school, except I'm no longer ashamed of it.
I'm just not ashamed of it anymore.
It's just, here I am.
Yep. This is her. Ladies and gentlemen, Huh.
Wow.
Well,
thanks for having me on this fever dream of an episode.
Absolute fever dream of a podcast episode. And we will be back again next week. Look out for some guests soon, hopefully. Just trying to get people's schedules figured out. We appreciate you for sticking with us during the absolute ridiculousness.
Yeah, if you made it this far through this episode,
thank you.
Gold star for you.
And also for sticking with the podcast to this point in general. Thank you very much.
We Absolutely.
Appreciate you. And we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Emily Whitney and produced by Maddie Robbins. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at eWit789, and at MR5MAR. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature. Thanks for listening!